Hello and welcome to the best movies of 2018. Now this list is very subjective, as most lists are. I will not be ranking any movies in a particular order, not 1 through 10 or whatever. This is just a bunch of movies that I thought was cool, interesting, had cool characters, big old action scenes that really entertain you. The biggest bang for your buck you got this year in 2018. So essentially it's the coolest made by a nerd. Let's do this. The first one I want to talk about is Mission Impossible Fallout. I really enjoyed this film. It was my first film that I went and saw by myself in the theaters, and it really got rid of all the anxiety of kind of being by yourself. I know some of you might think it's a very easy task to go do, and you go do it all the time, but for me it's very interesting to do it the first time. And I go in, I'm like, everyone knows I'm by myself, like that anxiety. But as soon as that movie went and started going, no qualms, forgot about it being by myself, and just had a lot of fun. The entire film was just fun action. Fun fact, I actually missed seeing this film getting filmed by only a couple days. I was in France a couple days before Tom Cruise and company came. So I was a couple days away from seeing Tom Cruise break his ankle or the infamous mustache gate of Henry Cavill. But overall, this is just a great blockbuster movie. Something that says, hey, you don't have to be a superhero. You just need to be Tom Cruise to succeed. But Tom Cruise is like a superhero. The next one on this list is Ready Player One. I love this. Holy, nostalgia Batman. There's so much to see in this film. I could watch it another 4 times and would see something different each time. I love seeing this, and I read the book back 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. I love the book, and as soon as I heard that Spielberg was directing it and it was coming our way, this was many years ago, I was like, holy Jeebus, it's going to be great, and it was. Obviously, it's not a perfect film. None of these films are going to be perfect, but they're just, the bang for your buck, like I said, are just entertainment factor. The fact that in this movie there's the Batmobile, and it breaks, but it doesn't the na 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 na. There's stuff like that throughout the entire film, and it's just fun to go looking for those things. And the film itself is a very fun, enjoyable ride. There's lots of cool things to see. There's the Iron Giant. There's Gundam wings. There's so much cool stuff in the film, and everyone does a really well done job, and the CGI looks really good. It's supposed to be a video game, so it doesn't look like Avatar, some of the pinnacle of computer animation. It just looks good for what it is, which is an online game, and it's just a lot of fun. The Incredibles 2. This movie focuses on the Parr family. It's not a Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible film, like the first one kind of was. This is definitely the Parr family film, and that's where this film really excels at. The villain is... it exists. The villain exists. He or she exists, not to ruin it. But the family dynamic makes sense in terms of the film, and it's like the driving point of the film. It's really fun. It's enjoyable, and it really gets you in the heartstrings a couple times about family, and it's a great film to watch. Deadpool 2. Now, Deadpool, the first one, did have a little setback with it because it had to be an origin story. But this one didn't have that setback. Yeah, some of you might not think of it as a setback. But in a time where we see so many superhero origin films, it's nice to get past that origin film and then really enjoy the sequel. Spider-Man 2, great example. The Dark Knight, great example. I'm not saying that Deadpool 2 is on par with those films. It's just really fun. It's funny. It's a great ride. You cannot separate Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool now. There's one and the same. Now, my generation always think of Deadpool as him when, previously it might have been a couple cartoons or just your own voice in your head, maybe the High Moon Studios video game from a couple years back. But Ryan Reynolds is now the definitive Deadpool. And he brings so much charm and wit to the film. And the entire thing is just fun. The X-Force scenes are really funny. And it's just a fun ride, as a lot of these films are going to be. It's just a fun ride. Searching. This movie might not have been on a lot of people's radar, but it was a found footage film but in the way of like my camera. That was the camera for searching. It was a different take on the found footage genre, and it really changed up what it could bring with the modern age. And the beginning intro is full of nostalgia and the feels, and it's really cute. And it is thrilling. There's scenes that you're like, oh gosh, did that person do that? And it like, you know, that when you kind of grasp either your chair or whoever you're sitting next to, you're like, oh, please not that. And a couple of gripping moments and eye-opening moments and fun moments. And overall, it's obviously not perfect. It's done by a guy who's never done a film before. He only's done short films before. But with just the actors that had going for it, it was a really well done film. Searching should get credit for being an original idea in a unoriginal genre. In terms of, it doesn't really change a lot in the genre, but this does do that, so it does need to get props and be on the top list of 2018 for doing something different and interesting. Crazy Rich Asians. I actually didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. I went and think it's just going to be another rom-com, and yeah, it is, but at the same time, just being one of the first few films in Hollywood that was all run by non-Americans. I mean, obviously some of these actors and actresses might have lived in America for a while, but essentially it was one of the first ones since the Joy Luck Club, I believe, off the top of my head, from like 30 years ago, that it was an all Asian cast and crew, which, well done, Hollywood. It did well here. I don't think it did well elsewhere. Maybe it's been a while since I looked at the box office numbers and check out the domestic and foreign differences, but it did really well, and it's going to be a sequel here soon because it's a couple books, and only the first book was made into this film, and it's just really cute. I enjoyed it. My girlfriend enjoyed it. Everyone else that I know went and saw it and enjoyed it. It's just a good rom-com that makes you feel good and makes you laugh a couple of times, and probably one of the greatest uses of the F-bomb this year. Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, if you're a Queen fan, you should get your butt into the theater and or just put a reminder in your phone whenever it comes out on Redbox or Netflix, wherever it's going to come first, and check this out. It got bombasted for just being, you know, essentially a concert for Queen, but there's nothing wrong with that. Rami Malek is Freddie Mercury. He is the closest we're ever going to get to see him live, you know. Obviously, you and I can go watch the Live Aid concert and a couple other concert footages on really terrible, usually really terrible quality. Or you can watch this film, learn a little bit about Queen like I did. Yeah, there's a couple things that are changed for the sake of Hollywood, but knowing that two of the surviving band members helped create this film and were very proud of it, and that Freddie Mercury's family like saw Malik in like costume for Freddie, and they're like, wow, that's Freddie. Everyone being so positive about it, I don't think the differences were too much, you know, in terms of, you know, being respectful to Freddie and his passing, and just still telling the story of Queen and having a fun time while doing it, because it is fun. Yes, there's a couple sad scenes, and it ends on kind of a sad note knowing that Freddie's gonna die, but it does have fun with it, and the Live Aid concert scene is just a lot of fun, and I really do think Robbie might get an Oscar nod eventually for this. Black Panther, I can't have a list without mentioning this. The domestic box office king for this year, pun intended, beating Avengers Infinity War, which is nuts. Such a big hit, and, you know, like, a sweet villain, obviously not Claw, but Killmonger. Great cast. I loved Michael B. Jordan, and just all the other supporting cast and crew, and just T'Challa was really well done. I enjoyed him. He was very poised and proper the entire time. You know, it wasn't, I don't know, Simba from The Lion King where it's, I don't want to be king, deuces. No, T'Challa knew and like wanted to be king, and like knew the path he was going to be on, was respectable to his elders and his people, and just the entire film was really well done. I learned a lot of things in terms of Black Panther because I haven't read a whole lot of his comics, so it's interesting to see it all come up on the big screen. And I don't know, there's a lot of humor in it, and there's a lot of cool scenes. There's a scene where a character's walking off and flips off someone, and in the distance of the camera, you can see one of the characters reacting to the middle finger, and a character who's not looking at the middle finger, who's looking the opposite way, sees the reaction on the character's face that saw it, and then responds to it. There's small stuff like that that I really love in movies. Like, someone might think, oh, how did she see her flip off? She's looking the wrong way. No, she saw the reaction of another character that did see it. That stuff's cool. Obviously, it's not why it's on the list, but it does help. And also, just killing the box office and having a killer soundtrack and cast really does help. A Quiet Place. John Krasinski, hashtag Jim, hashtag Jim and Pam Forever, brought us one of the most interesting cinematic experiences in a long time. When's the last time you guys went to a theater and people didn't eat their popcorn because they didn't want to be rude and they don't want to ruin the aesthetic of the theater because it was that quiet? It's amazing. And the small details in this film is also amazing. There's a couple scenes where they're going through stores, and on the side you see, like, I don't know, 20, 30 bags of chips. You're like, the F, I don't know if you get it. It's good food. It's decent food, you know? But it's too loud. That's the thing. Like, you might see, be like, oh, there's food right there. Just get it, dummies. But you take a second, you're like, chips. Oh, crunch. Oh. You know, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, give it a try. I mean, yeah, it's a horror film. And if you don't like horror films, then, well, I can't help you there. But it's still a good, fun ride. And it's still enjoyable. There's a couple heart gut-wrenching scenes, but you'll get over them. Operation Finale. Any historical film that involves World War II especially, but any like historical film that teaches me something I didn't know about world history, that interests me, that keeps me invigorated, that makes me feel emotions, that'll always make my list. Historical films sometimes are not good. I think they should be not, you know, get a pass because of what they are, but sometimes historical films don't get the praise that they should for teaching us something that we ought to know. I ought to know what happened for Operation Finale, like in real life, but I had to watch a movie to know about it. It's not fun at times. It's emotionally driven, and gut-wrenching to know that some of the actors and actresses have ties to the Holocaust, which is what this is about. This is about going to get one of the Nazi Germany officials that ran away from Germany into South America, and this is a bunch of Israeli forces, Jewish people, coming after him to make him pay for his crimes of the Holocaust, of the final solution. And knowing that some of them have ties to it is like really like, whoa. That's rough, and just it's just a good film. It's a light thriller. It's not going to make you stay up at night and be like, oh gosh, there's a murder in my closet. It's just like thinking one, but not like super thinking one. It's just a good film. I enjoyed it, and I don't think the reviews do it justice. Bumblebee. Now this one surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that high up for me, but it was a great summer blockbuster that came out in winter. And Haley Steinfeld did way better than I thought. And then Dylan O'Brien as Bumblebee, like, alright, dude, you can voice him. Seeing OG Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and just a bunch of other Decepticons and Minicrons, also just cool as and so many nods to, yes, the old animated Transformers series and movie that we know and love, but also nod to the other Transformers films. There's a young Agent Coulson. It recognizes both exist. It has fun. It has humor and music from both sides of the Transformers universe, and it sits right in the middle, and it's just, it's good. It's solid. It's fun, and Bumblebee is just fracking adorable, and also a killing machine at the same time. It's great. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, when the reviews of this came out, I was like, okay, Spider-Man, 100%, 99%, I can with that. All right. And then you go and watch it, you're like, dang, that was really good. It makes you hate that sometimes animated films have a stigma about them. Like, I'm not going to go watch that. It's like a kid's film. No, this is the great film for anyone. It's got a bumping soundtrack, a great cast and crew, hashtag Nick Cage forever, and it's just fun. And there's not really like spoileriness I can get into, but just how Miles' journey goes about, Miles Morales, the main character of the movie, goes about, is really touching and really moving and just, but also funny. It's so funny in so many parts, and it works because of how it's animated. It's animated to look like a comic book, and that works so well with the humor and the action and the colors, and it's just, oh, I could gush about it for days. I like to mention one honorable mention, and that is the 25th anniversary of Schindler's List. That was re-released this year. For its anniversary with a special message from Steven Spielberg in the beginning of it. And I don't know, it's a shout out because it did come out this year, so I could do that. And because it's my own channel, so I can do that if I want to, and I'm going to do it, and I am doing it. And that's just the one that is in a lot of people's top 50 lists of all time in terms of movies. And the fact that it re-released this year and I could watch it in the theaters was gripping, and just you can watch my review on that one. It's rough, but such a masterpiece. And last, but certainly not least, Avengers Infinity War. Talk about climax. 10 years of films, almost 20 films, over 20 films, somewhere in that range, and multiple TV shows, all of that accumulating to one movie. One big-ass blockbuster mother work of art that had so many characters, so many things going on, so many secrets. I can't even gush enough about Avengers Infinity War. I mean, honestly, if I had to pick a number one, it's going to be this film. It's going to be it, because it just, God, it's just so many emotions, so much humor, so much action, and then like just gut-wrenching things that you're not used to from Marvel films. So much happened in it, so much was going on, so many ideas. Thanos as a villain was, holy shit. Oh, God. God. What a year for movies. But that's my list. That's a lot of movies that, you know, got a wow factor, was cool, had a nice idea, changed up a little bit in Hollywood, broke the box office. So many different things that these movies got on this list for. And I glazed over a lot of what makes these movies great. And I highly recommend checking out some of them, if not all of them, if you got the time and resources. But if you had to pick some, definitely Infinity War, definitely Bohemian Rhapsody, Quiet Place, and then the other ones, oh, also Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, yeah, you could do that. Mission Impossible Fallout, Ready Player One, Incredibles 2, no, you need to watch those. Bumblebee, you need to watch that. Schindler's List, you should watch that. Operation Finale, you should watch that. Actually, you just have to watch all of them. But that's it for me. There will be maybe one or two more videos before the end of the year. But otherwise, that's it. That's the best movies of 2018. Let me know what best movie you thought came out in 2018 down in the comments down below. If you really like this video, give it a like. If you really like the channel, what I got going on here, and want to support me, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next one.